Every truck driver has that moment. You're sitting in the cab, doing the math on your paycheck, and you think to yourself, I could make way more money if I just went out on my own. Going owner-operator is the American dream of trucking. But in 2026, that dream comes with a price tag that might shock you. Today, I'm breaking down every single cost you're going to face, so you can make this decision with your eyes wide open. Let's start with the biggest expense, the truck itself. A brand new Class 8 sleeper cab from Freightliner, Peterbilt, or Kenworth is going to run you anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 in 2026. Used trucks are an option, but the market has shifted dramatically. A well-maintained used truck with under 500,000 miles is going for $60,000 to $90,000. And here's the thing nobody tells you. The cheaper the truck, the more you're going to spend on maintenance. That $40,000 truck with 800,000 miles on it, you'll spend the difference in repairs within the first year. Now let's talk about insurance, and this is where a lot of new owner-operators get blindsided. You need at minimum primary liability insurance, which the FMCSA requires at $1 million minimum coverage for general freight. In 2026, that alone runs $12,000 to $18,000 per year. Then, you need physical damage coverage for the truck itself, which adds another $3,000 to $5,000. Cargo insurance is typically $2,000 to $4,000 per year, and if you want bobtail insurance, occupational accident insurance, and non-trucking liability, you're adding another $3,000 to $5,000 on top. Total insurance costs for a new owner-operator? You're looking at $20,000 to $32,000 a year, and that's with a clean record. Getting your own operating authority from the FMCSA costs about $300 for the application. But that's just the beginning. You need a BOC3 process agent designation, which runs about $50 to $100. You need a UCR registration, that's around $200 to $300 depending on fleet size. You need IRP plates for interstate travel, which can cost $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the states you travel through. IFTA registration and quarterly fuel tax reporting adds administrative burden and sometimes additional costs. And don't forget your TIC card at $125 and your hazmat endorsement renewal if you carry hazardous materials. Fuel is your single largest ongoing expense. In 2026, diesel prices are hovering between $3.50 and $4.50 a gallon depending on region. If you're running 120,000 miles a year and getting 6 miles per gallon, that's 20,000 gallons of diesel. At $4 a gallon, that's $80,000 a year just in fuel. Let that sink in. $80,000 a year going straight into your tanks. Fuel cards and loyalty programs can shave maybe 5 to 10% off that, but it's still your biggest line item by far. Maintenance is the expense that separates successful owner-operators from ones who go bankrupt. You need to budget at least 15 to 20 cents per mile for maintenance and repairs. On 120,000 miles, that's $18,000 to $24,000 per year. That covers oil changes every 25,000 miles at about $300 each. Tire replacement, and you've got 18 of them, at $300 to $500 per tire. Brake jobs that cost $1,000 to $3,000 depending on what needs replacing. Annual DOT inspections, air system repairs, electrical system maintenance. And then there are the unexpected breakdowns. A turbo failure can cost you $3,000. A DPF replacement runs $5,000 or more. An engine rebuild? You're looking at $15,000 to $25,000. You can't run a modern trucking operation without technology. Your ELD device runs $20 to $40 a month in subscription fees. A dashcam system, which is practically mandatory now for insurance purposes, costs $200 to $500 plus monthly fees. GPS and routing software is another $20 to $40 monthly. Load board subscriptions like DAT or truckstop.com run $40 to $150 per month. Accounting software, dispatch software, and communication tools add up. Budget about $200 to $400 a month for your full technology stack, or roughly $2,400 to $4,800 per year. Here's a cost category that a lot of new owner-operators underestimate: living on the road. Food expenses for an over-the-road driver easily hit $50 to $75 per day. Even if you cook in your cab to save money, you're still looking at $30 to $40 a day for groceries. Truck stop showers, if you don't have a gym membership, that's $12 to $15 each. Laundry costs add up at $10 to $20 per week. Parking is increasingly a paid commodity, with some truck stops charging $15 to $25 a night for reserved spots. And if you have a family at home, the emotional and financial cost of being away needs to factor into your equation. Let me add this all up for you. Truck payment, or savings for replacement, roughly $1,500 to $2,500 per month. Insurance, $1,700 to $2,700 per month. Fuel, at current prices, about $6,700 per month. Maintenance reserve, $1,500 to $2,000 per month. Technology and subscriptions, $200 to $400 per month. Permits, fees, and compliance, averaged out to maybe $300 to $500 per month. Living expenses on the road, $1,500 to $2,000 per month. That's a monthly overhead of $13,400 to $17,100. Per year, you're looking at $160,000 to $205,000 in expenses before you pay yourself a single dime. So what does the revenue side look like? The average owner-operator gross revenue in 2026 is about $200,000 to $280,000 per year, depending on freight type, lanes, and how hard you run. Spot market rates have stabilized, but they're not at the peaks we saw a few years ago. Dry van rates are averaging $2 to $2.50 per mile. Reefer adds 20 to 40 cents on top. Flatbed typically commands the highest rates at $2.50 to $3.50 per mile. After all expenses, the average owner-operator take-home pay is $50,000 to $80,000 per year. That's not bad money, but it's a far cry from the six-figure income that the YouTube gurus promise you. And we haven't even talked about taxes yet. As a self-employed owner-operator, you're responsible for the full 3% self-employment tax, which covers both the employee and employer portions of Social Security and Medicare. Then you've got federal income tax on top of that, plus state income tax if your home state has one. The heavy vehicle use tax, Form 2290, costs $550 per year for trucks over 75,000 pounds. You need to make quarterly estimated tax payments to avoid penalties. A good trucking accountant will cost you $1,000 to $3,000 per year, but they'll save you far more than that in deductions. So when does going owner-operator actually make sense? It makes sense when you have at least 6 months of expenses saved up as a safety net. It makes sense when you have significant driving experience, ideally 3 to 5 years minimum. It makes sense when you've done your homework on lanes, freight types, and customers. It makes sense when you have a realistic business plan, not just a dream. And it makes sense when you understand that you're not just becoming a truck driver who owns a truck. You're becoming a small business owner who happens to drive. The real cost of going owner-operator in 2026 is not just financial. It's the mental weight of being responsible for everything. But for the right person, with the right preparation, it can absolutely be worth it. If this video helped you understand the real numbers, hit that subscribe button and join the Freight Social community. We put out content every week to help truckers make smarter business decisions. Drop your questions in the comments. I read every single one. Until next time, drive smart and drive safe.